Elon Musk, put me in charge of the Pentagon. I'll slash $400 billion easy. That'll get you 20% to your goal of $2 trillion right out the gate. I went to Wharton 3 years before you. I own a media company, so I know how to run a business. If you really want to put me in, coach. Specific suggestions are welcome. Oh my Lord. Unc, stop it, Unc. You are going to get assassinated. What the hell is going on, dude? All right. We're going to talk about Pete Hegseth. Mainstream media is, at this point, like a week late. They're a week late on these stories that I uncovered immediately after the Pete Hegseth nom. They're talking about the settlement that Pete Hegseth engaged in with a woman who credibly accused him of sexual assault, and also the tattoos that he has that caused him to not participate in the inauguration, even though he's a part of the National Guard. Why was he not allowed to participate in the inauguration as a part of the National Guard? Because he has right-wing extremist Christian fundamentalist tattoos. He has the Deus Vult tattoo on his arm, and he has the Jerusalem cross on his chest. Both of these are white nationalist, Christian nationalist tattoos. Many neo-Nazis have these tattoos. It's not as aggressive or as overt as like a black sun or a swastika, but it's more in line with Christian nationalism. Source? Well, you're about to see it in a second. It's so funny to go source on Christian nationalist tattoos because it's on his body. Like, it's literally on his body. And not only is it on his body, he wrote an entire book about how pissed he was that they wouldn't let him participate in the inauguration because of his tattoos. Not only did he write a book about it, but he also personally talked to Sean Ryan. No, they are not Lamau. What? The Jerusalem cross and Deus Vult aren't Christian nationalist tattoos? What are you talking about? Also, Pete Hegseth himself is a rabid Christian fundamentalist, a rabid Christian nationalist. He has openly said his incredibly violent desires time and time again on camera and at numerous conferences as well. I covered a lot of this stuff multiple times throughout the past couple of weeks at this point, so you can go and look at my coverage on the matter. Also, 2024 Kanye is a very funny name for a person to be like, I don't understand what you mean about the Deus Vult.
Donald Trump, his choices for his cabinet are coming under increasing fire, possibly facing confirmation battles in the Republican-controlled Senate. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is at Mar-a-Lago. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, Donald Trump ran as a disruptor, promising to shatter the status quo. And based on his cabinet picks, he intends to make good on that promise if he can get them confirmed.
President-elect Donald Trump Saturday at an Ultimate Fighting Championship event alongside controversial members of his new team. As this morning, Trump is gearing up for his own fight to get his cabinet picks confirmed.
These are disruptors. They are. I think that's by design.
Questions continue to grow over Trump's choice for defense secretary. Fox News host Pete Hegseth. His attorney confirming Hegseth paid a woman who accused him of sexual assault in 2017 as part of a settlement agreement, though claiming the encounter was consensual. Trump was made aware of the incident shortly after he named Hegseth to the position and is standing by him. His team saying that Hegseth has vigorously denied any and all accusations and no charges were filed. We look forward to his confirmation. Hegseth is also under fire for some of his tattoos.
Hash Brown 221, thank you for the 521 gift to subs. How are they disruptors when they staff basically the entirety of the apparatus? Yeah, they're not real disruptors, I guess. There are certain aspects of it that is disruptive. Having someone like Pete Hegseth run the DOD is unique. Okay? It is unique because he does not have the adequate experience. Like, he is now placed on top of an organization that is literally in charge of 3 million employees, okay? That's crazy. You can't have someone who is a weekend Fox News host do that job. like out of nowhere. He does not have adequate work experience. Okay? Like, that's crazy. That is like that is definitely disruptive, okay? Having said, or Matt Gaetz has no relevant experience with the exception of being in the crosshairs of the legal system, okay? The only relevant experience Matt Gaetz has to be attorney general is that he has been investigated by the Department of Justice. That's it, okay? Like, that's insane. That's an insane thing to do, to put him in the top cop slot. Okay? The Deus Vault slogan has been used by perpetrators of right-wing terrorism. It was repeatedly used by the perpetrator of the 2017 Quebec City mosque shooting and was one of the tattoos on the body of the perpetrator of the 2023 Allen, Texas outlet mall shooting. Deus Vault was among the slogans and symbols used during the violent far-right riot of Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017. Yes. He is legit a lawyer. Yeah, brother. He went to law school and went into private practice for a year and then immediately ran for office. So no, he does not have legitimate lawyer bona fides at all. That is ridiculous, okay? Having a law degree does not make you a legitimate fucking lawyer, okay? Chunk Weiger, my uncle, okay? Shaky Gurga, Cenk Uygur, also has a law degree. I don't think he should be attorney general. Except he would still be more qualified than Matt Gaetz because he hasn't, done illegal shit. His only litigation experience was suing his dad's friend or some shit for health benefits.
Depicting religious symbols and phrases that fellow service members flagged to his superiors over concerns they're associated with white supremacists. Hegseth saying those concerns amount to anti-Christian bigotry, posting they can target
That's crazy.
me.
That's crazy. This is anti-Christian bigotry. Once again, the Deus Vault tattoo, okay? Here. Let's look at Wikipedia, okay? Let's resort to my favorite website, Wikipedia. Deus Vault is a Christian motto relating to divine providence. It was first chanted by Catholics during the First Crusade as a rallying cry, most likely under the form Deus le Vault or Deus le Vault, as reported by Gesta Francorum, okay? In modern times, the Latin motto has different meanings depending on the context. It has been used as a metaphor referring to God's will by Christians throughout history, such as the Puritans. The modern application is an adoption by right-wing groups as a slogan. Deus Vault has been adopted by a slogan by a variety of Christian right and Christian nationalist groups, as well as alt-right and white supremacist groups. This usage was disseminated widely online through hashtags and internet memes. Crusader memes, such as an image of a Knight Templar accompanied by the caption, "I'll see your jihad and raise you one crusade," are popular on far-right internet pages. It is one of the several pieces of Crusader imagery used by groups characterized in the Washington Post as far-right Christian nationalists and dominionists. One perspective is that racist movements co-opt the slogans and iconography of the European medieval period to evoke a fantasy of a pure white European heritage, a nostalgic view that is historically inaccurate and has been denounced by medievalist scholars as a gross distortion of history. Okay? What is hilarious about this is that it also runs with this false understanding that these guys in Europe were white that were doing the Crusades. It's no different than the way that, for example, the Nazis hailed the Roman era, regardless of the fact that Germans or the early German tribes were directly at odds with the Romans and fought them, as a matter of fact, successfully, despite the fact that they were barbarians and living in mud huts at the time. So they also hailed the Roman mythology as though it was, Teutoburger Wald. It was very funny that they, pointed to the Romans as this like, white society when it very clearly was not. People still do that, for the record. They still point to, a lot of fascists love LARPing and, utilizing Roman imagery, for example, like the Roman salute, or more famously known as, the Sig Heil. This is not Nazi Germany. What? Yeah, this is something different. The Deus Vult slogan has been used by perpetrators of right-wing terrorism. It was repeatedly used by the perpetrator of the 2017 Quebec City mosque shooting and was one of the tattoos on the body of the perpetrator of the 2023 Allen, Texas outlet mall shooting. Deus Vult among the slogans and symbols used during the violent far-right riot in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017. The slogan, as well as other Knights Templar imagery, has also been associated with far-right subgroups in the U.S. that merge Christian nationalism with gun culture. A Florida gun manufacturer engraved the slogan on its Crusader model of the AR-15 style rifle. The motto is also used by Christian nationalist groups in Europe. The phrase was portrayed on large banners carried by unspecified groups characterized by The Guardian as far-right marchers in 2017 in Warsaw, Poland. Okay. So, yes, having a Deus Vult tattoo is weird and suspicious. It's especially weird and suspicious when you have also very openly, as Pete Hegseth has, said unimaginably racist things about how we have to do crusades against the jihadi Muslims over and over again. He has literally said that. So, once again, we are looking at, symbols, okay? We're looking at symbols to indicate whether or not this person has weird opinions when he's openly stating his weird opinions, okay? He's openly stating his violent desires with regular frequency. That's it.
Don't give a damn. But this type of targeting of Christians, conservatives, patriots, and everyday Americans will stop on day one at Donald Trump's Department of Defense. Hegseth's post notably not disavowing the supremacists who have adopted the symbolism, though he has in the past. And this morning, a growing number of Republican senators are demanding to see the House Ethics Committee report into Trump's choice for Attorney General, former Congressman Matt Gaetz.
I believe the Senate should have access to that. Now, should it be released to the public or not? That's I guess that will be part of the negotiations, but that should be definitely part of our decision making.
While the Justice Department declined to pursue any charges, the bipartisan committee had been investigating Gaetz for allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use. Sources tell ABC News a woman testified he had sex with her when she was only 17, something Gaetz has denied, as well as the drug claims. In a statement, Gaetz saying these allegations are invented and would constitute false testimony to Congress. This false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. But the investigation ended when Gaetz abruptly resigned from Congress last week, hours after Trump tapped him to be his attorney general. At the time, House Speaker Mike Johnson was non-committal on whether the committee's report should be released. But now
it should not come out. And why? Because Matt Gaetz resigned from Congress. He is no longer a...
That's weird. That's weird. That's sus. It should not come out. This report should stay hidden. Please. It should not come out. He resigned. Sorry. You can't say it. You can't, after spending years and years on this report, you can't reveal the contents of it because he resigned. That's cool.
member.
Trump is making it clear he plans to overhaul government agencies, tasking billionaire confidant Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead a newly created Department of Government Efficiency.
We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated. We expect massive cuts among federal contractors and others who are overbilling the federal government.
Ramaswamy and Musk there by Trump's side at the fight this weekend. So too is his pick for Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, one of the nation's top fracking CEOs. Wright has fiercely criticized the existence of a climate crisis.
There is no climate crisis, and we're not in the midst of an energy transition either.
That's crazy. Elon Musk, hey, Elon Musk, put me in charge of the Pentagon. I'll slash $400 billion easy. That'll get you 20% to your goal of $2 trillion right out the gate. I went to Wharton 3 years before you. I own a media company, so I know how to run a business. If you really want to cut, put me in, coach. Specific suggestions are welcome. Oh, my Lord. Unc, stop it, Unc. You are going to get assassinated. What the hell is going on, dude? The liberals have lost the plot. Okay, they're shaky Gurga. Don't do it. Yeah, he's gonna audit the Pentagon after fucking multiple decades of not being able to figure out where the $8 trillion black hole within the Pentagon is going to. Thanksgiving gonna be wild this year. Yeah, the climate crisis isn't happening. It's fine. Please don't look at Florida. Okay, it's normal. Florida likes being underwater. Okay, the climate crisis isn't happening. Parts of North Carolina that are elevated in the mountainside are supposed to be underwater. That's just how things work. It's called weather, guys. Come on, it's called climate, right? Hey, please. Asheville, North Carolina, that area is supposed to be underwater. It likes it. It likes being underwater. It feels good as fuck for Asheville, North Carolina to be underwater, actually. Please. Yeah. Have you ever considered how good it feels to get wet like Florida does? Yeah, 100-year droughts or floods happen every year. That's right there in the name. Okay? Yeah. Whenever climate scientists, which are, by the way, woke and gay, so obviously we don't believe them, okay? Whenever they say, hey guys, it's kind of crazy that this once-in-a-lifetime weather event is occurring now twice a year, you should look away. They're just lying. Yeah, if the climate didn't change, we'd get bored of the climate. Who wants seasons in the normal way that people experience them? Even the Weather Channel acknowledges how fucked we are.
2024 will most likely be the first year the world surpasses that critical 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit of warming. At 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit of warming, we could soon see breakdowns in the ocean circulation systems. That means ocean currents begin to slow, resulting in major shifts in our global weather patterns and dramatic impacts on everything from farming to sea life. Also, an alarming reduction in global sea ice and glaciers, resulting in further warming and sea level rise.
It's a good thing that we are also nuking the Department of Education so that at a time when Americans just straightforwardly say science is woke and gay and I do not care about it because they're lying to me, I've done my own research, we can now have more people join that cause of claiming science is woke and gay and that we shouldn't believe in any of that and we should instead, believe other things that someone made up. We should believe charismatic individuals who are just making stuff up instead of people who have spent countless hours trying to figure out what the fuck is going on and make assessments about the future. Oh my God.
And global weather patterns may become even more extreme. This means more intense flooding events, bigger wildfires, more extreme droughts, and more intense heat waves. Scientists warn that...
Says the Dems, you guys push agenda in education. Like, what the fuck do you guys think? Dude, exactly. Yes. No, the agenda is called learning, okay? It's called reading a fucking book. That's the agenda. I'm sorry that it happens to correspond to a certain degree to what the liberals present themselves as defending. Okay. And don't worry, the liberals have also dropped the ball spectacularly. Don't worry. Kamala Harris was talking about how she's going to do drill, baby, drill. Okay. So it's not my fault. They're pushing an agenda as schools. Yeah. The agenda is called learning. The agenda is called critical thinking. The agenda is called, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what else to say. Okay. What the fuck? Read a book. I don't know how to explain it either, or I'll get banned. No, I will not ban you for saying something stupid. I hear a fuck ton of stupid shit from people on a daily basis. I will only ban you if you just like directly start targeting members of this community and start fucking saying, you know, trans people are morally degenerate or some shit. As long as you can explain it normally, even though it is a false understanding of reality, okay, you won't get fucking banned. I fucking hate all these anti-intellectuals. I'm sorry, but like, go to college, don't have money for college. Literally, exactly. Let me get a federal loan. I'm sorry. No, it's just, I don't even fault people. I don't even fault people for, you know, being anti-education. They are a victim of circumstance. Okay. They are a victim of their own material conditions living in the United States of America. Okay. That's it. That's it. We are a nation that is actively making our own population dumber and dumber year over year. So we prioritize climate on economy. Trump's better by far. What if I were to tell you that there is a reasonable middle ground, okay, where you can still make economic improvements like a federal jobs program, for example, okay, not dissimilar to one that FDR had engaged in, right? In the New Deal that is, you know, very popular and looked back at fondly by everyone. We live in the aftermath of the New Deal, and we still benefit from it tremendously, as a matter of fact. What if I were to tell you that there is an economic solution that doesn't actually destroy the American economy and simultaneously moves us towards renewable energy? What if I were to tell you that there is a country that is out competing us in that field pretty aggressively, and that country is called China? Not only is oil and gas a finite resource, as in it will end at one day, a reality that even the oil and gas giants, the fossil fuel industry, acknowledges, which is why they try to leverage and hedge their bets by purchasing some of these fucking renewable energy companies so that they can still you know, they will still be able to dominate the energy sector when inevitably we move in that direction. What if I were to tell you that closing your eyes and closing your ears and going, la, 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 I can't hear you, we need to fucking keep melting this goddamn planet, is probably not a sustainable nor smart solution to the problem? We should focus on the economy instead of climate change. Also, why is my house underwater? That is the Florida conundrum. Climate change is not real. We should look away. It's not real. And then it's like, why can't I personally get insurance, flooding insurance in my house? If they take away education, freedom of press, net neutrality, cover up the truth of the damage the current economy is doing, what do we do to help keep the information flowing? I don't know. We just keep pushing, I guess.
Beyond the 2.7 degrees threshold, coral reefs begin bleaching at rates beyond repair. So while 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit may seem like a small number, the impacts that number carries is potentially life-changing.
Yeah. The government can control the weather. Okay, this guy's, he went back to Google so we can figure out a good counter to what I said. Anyway, yeah.
Wright, who has no government experience, has argued the impacts of climate change are overblown. But scientists agree humans are causing global warming and climate change. This year is shaping up to be the hottest on record, with more extreme weather events made worse by climate change expected. And
nah, dog, that's just normal, bro. It feels good. It feels good as fuck for the areas impacted like this. It's like they're cleaning it. You know what I mean? Like, think about it this way. Your car gets dirty, you get it washed, right? Like, that's kind of what's going on here. Is that the attitude? Is that what we're going to be doing in the future? You know, we're just power washing a lot of these places. Yeah. It's like going through a cleanse. I've got relatives that say Asheville floods were a result of God's punishment because of the liberal hedonistic center of North Carolina. Jeez, Lord mercy.
Expected. And leading health experts continue to sound the alarm about Trump's choice to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. A prominent vaccine skeptic, Kennedy is deeply suspicious of mainstream medicine and has vowed to reshape the U.S. health system.
I am outraged because lives are at stake here. To have someone leading
I hate this conversation because, like, parts of what Robert F. Kennedy says about American food is objectively correct. Okay? Parts about regulatory capture, also correct. He is the worst person to say it, however, and the media also routinely drops the ball. One passage that is burned into my mind was when RFK Jr. was talking about, like, I guess, Fruit Loops or whatever and how different it is in Canada, right? His assessment on certain fronts is completely correct, but his solution is incorrect. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when he talks about Fruit Loops in America versus Fruit Loops in Canada, he'll say, oh, they have, only 2 ingredients. He's wrong about that, right? In Canada, it's not just 2 ingredients. But the media will turn around and say, and I can't, what was the article? Like, I need to find this piece that was criticizing RFK's Fruit Loop conversation, okay? Where they were like, the difference between Fruit Loops in Canada and the chemicals that are used in Fruit Loops in the United States of America. Oh, here, this is it. This is what I was talking about. Thank you. Mr. Kennedy has singled out Fruit Loops as an example of a product with too many artificial ingredients, questioning why the Canadian version has fewer than the U.S. version. But he was wrong. The ingredients list is roughly the same, although Canada has natural colorings made from blueberries and carrots, while the U.S. product contains red dye 40, yellow 5, and blue 1, as well as butylated hydroxytoluene, or BHT, a lab-made chemical that is used for freshness, according to the ingredient label. So it's not the same thing. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck is the fact check here? So everyone on every side of the equation is failing spectacularly. RFK Jr. identifies a commonly held position that he is championing here and gaining prominence. The media is not accurately covering the frustration that I have, for example, with what RFK Jr. is presenting as a solution to the problem. Okay? And the issue with the circumstance is, like, when they write stuff like this, people read it and go, what the fuck are you saying? Like, yeah, no, that's what he's pointing to. Like, you can't say these two things are the same with some minor differences. And then the minor differences is exactly what he's pointing to. The real problem here isn't RFK saying he wants to make food healthy. That's a good and honorable goal. The real problem is he is not going to do that with this current administration, okay? Because his solution is deregulation, not correct regulation and anti-corruption, but instead deregulation. When you deregulate, you don't arrive magically at a Canadian style fucking form of a regulatory agency. They have more regulation there. They have more regulation in Europe. That's the reason why they don't have these fucking chemicals in their food. And it's not even just these chemicals. Okay? It's not. There are massive, massive problems with the food that Americans consume. New York Times edited the article because of the tweet. Oh, shit. Because of an editing error, an earlier version of this article incorrectly described Mr. Kennedy's recent comments on Fruit Loops. He was comparing the total number of ingredients in the U.S. and Canadian version of the cereal, not the number of artificial ingredients. It's sad because I eat very healthy, with the exception of the diet sodas that I consume that are not entirely unhealthy, or there's a lot of fucking back and forth on, how unhealthy some of these chemicals are. Okay. But overall, okay, I eat a healthy, balanced diet that I track, okay, pretty aggressively. I track my micronutrients. I track my macronutrients. I try to make up for specific micronutrients that I might not be getting from my diet overall. Crumble cookie is so stupid. Yes, dude, it's normal to fucking, go crazy sometimes. Like, what are you talking about? Eating a couple crumble cookies over the weekend while it's packed to the fucking gills with sugar is like eating unhealthy every now and then is not going to kill you. Okay. That is literally a part of moderation. It's fine. You can do that. Okay. And I say this as someone who, is very careful about what I eat. Jesus Christ. Super healthy, set in front of a literal tower of nicotine. Nicotine is an infinitely healthier substitute to tobacco products. What are we talking about? I mean, come on, don't make me have this conversation over and over again. Okay, everything in moderation. Everything in fucking moderation. God forbid a grown man has a sweet treat every now and then. Exactly. Thank you. Anyway. The point is, I say this as someone who also, splurges every now and then. I say this as someone who has changed my diet specifically so that I can have a sweet treat at the end of the day, an ice cream sandwich. Okay. And the results speak for themselves. Okay. I went from being 285 pounds and losing all of my muscle mass at the peak of COVID lockdowns to 225 pounds and, getting back all of that muscle mass. I say this as someone who works out every single day of the week. I train, I weight lift, and I train 4 times a week. I do cardio and play basketball 3 times a week. Okay? I care about this shit. So it is very frustrating when I hear about, I hear from people who don't care about this shit, who spread a fuck ton of misinformation on it. Okay? The problem is it's different strokes for different folks, and our entire food industry is, for example, heavily subsidized due to heavy subsidies on corn products. We utilize high fructose corn syrup. This is part of the reason why America has a diabetes epidemic. This is the reason why America has an obesity epidemic. Another part of the problem is with our highly processed foods is that there are plenty of food deserts And also, none of our cities are fucking walkable. We have a car-reliant infrastructure. If you look to countries that have adequate public transit, people are walking around a lot more, okay? When you walk around a lot more, you are forced to, you know, have a healthier lifestyle overall. That's it. Like, these are broad generalizations, but you know, there is truth to what I am speaking of here, okay? All of these things play a big role in the obesity epidemic in the United States of America, okay? I hate this shit. I hate the coverage of it, and I hate that, like, RFK Jr. is considered a champion of health when he is, you know, genuinely anti-medicine and, in certain instances, anti-science.
HHS, who is one of the biggest deniers of vaccines in our country, would undermine the confidence in that program and likely would cost lives.
Even the conservative editorial board of the Rupert Murdoch-owned New York Post writing the overriding rule of medicine is first, do no harm. We are certain installing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to head Health and Human Services breaks this rule. Kennedy, who has railed against processed foods and criticized Trump's diet, seen this weekend posing with the president-elect over a meal of McDonald's.
Now, overnight, Trump naming Brendan Carr to be FCC commissioner. He's served there since 2012, received high praise from Elon Musk, and notably wrote a chapter of the Project 2025 policy book on how he would run the FCC. The big question for all of these nominees, of course, can they get confirmed in the Senate? And if not, will Trump urge the Senate to waive its confirmation responsibilities to push them through via recess appointments? George?
Yes, this is a real test of the Republican-led Senate. Okay, Mary, thanks very much.
This morning, President-elect.
Yeah. Also, Donald Trump has officially confirmed that he is going to do mass deportation with use of military assets. It is virtually impossible for him to conduct mass deportations with the current existing ICE structure. There's simply not enough people to be able to engage in this. And now he is talking about deploying the American military on U.S. soil. This is legitimately terrifying. Okay. I mean, I'm eagerly waiting for an apology from my dad, who said this was just a campaign thing and he wouldn't actually do this or be allowed to do it by the course. Surely this apology will come in any minute now.
Elect Trump signaling a major move on immigration, responding true to a post on his social media platform saying he will declare a national emergency and use military assets for a mass deportation program, a program he pledged to implement during his campaign, which focused in part on immigration and the southern border.
The Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country.
And he's promised to use the military as enforcement in the past.
We must use any and all resources needed to stop the invasion, including moving thousands of troops currently stationed overseas.
Now, as Mr. Trump nods to his immigration plans and prepares for office, he's also facing a fight in Washington on some of the picks for his new administration.
A standing ovation.
After taking in a different kind of fight at a UFC match with allies this weekend. The spotlight now on his choice to lead the Pentagon. Former
Aiden Ross begging Trump to deport you as we speak. Yeah. I'm technically I am on the list, I think, of potential deportation nominees, but I'm on the tail end. For certain parts of my commentary, I'm on the first in line. But for other parts of my denaturalization process, I'm on the end of the line. So, being openly anti-Israel puts me in the top slot, as Project 2025 has a specific branch dedicated to Project Esther, which dictates that they will go after anyone and everyone that criticizes Israel, hurts Israel's feelings, and hit him with RICO charges, and actively work to deport them from the country. But on the other side, I'm on the tail end of the list. If I wasn't an outspoken critic of the nation state of Israel, I would be on the opposing side, or not opposing, but on the other side of the deportation process, where I'd be in the last part of the denaturalization. The crazy stalkers don't need to know that. Yeah. Now, people go, oh, well, this violates Posse Comitatus Act, federal law, signed into law on June 18th, 1878 by President Rutherford B. Hayes, that limits the powers of the federal government in the use of federal military personnel to enforce domestic policies within the United States. The problem is, what are you going to do? Take it up to the fucking Supreme Court? What are the safeguards here? What are the safeguards that we currently have? What are the legal safeguards that we currently have? I'm about to put some trash in my neighbor's garbage can. Don't do it! There are no checks and balances against this. The Supreme Court is completely in the tank for Donald Trump. So much so that they've given Donald Trump additional protection from legal scrutiny. Okay? So everything that he says he's going to do, look forward to him actually successfully implementing. Okay? There is no reason to believe that Donald Trump this time around is not going to be able to follow through with a lot of these promises. Yes, it goes hand in hand with how he wants to use the Alien Enemies Act to turbocharge deportations. Trump is promising deportations under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Okay? Former President Donald Trump, whose bid for the White House has been dominated by his increasingly hardline anti-immigration rhetoric, is vowing to use an obscure centuries-old law to expedite the removal of undocumented immigrants from the United States. I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil, he said at a recent rally in California. Ironically enough, a lot of the states, if they refuse to collaborate with the federal government on this sort of thing, refuse to give the federal government information on where migrants are, for example, undocumented migrants are, will trigger a massive constitutional crisis, because then they would have to fight against each individual state. It would literally be civil war. Trump is promising that if reelected, he will use the act to initiate a federal effort called Operation Aurora, named after the Colorado town that he claims has been taken over by Venezuelan gangs, which residents and local officials dispute, to target undocumented migrant gang members for arrest and deportation. He has also suggested that the act could be used to end sanctuary cities, which limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities, telling Fox News' Harris Faulkner that we can do things in terms of moving people out. It's also name-checked in the Republican Party's official 2024 platform, Agenda 47, which says it will invoke the law to remove all known or suspected gang members, drug dealers, or cartel members in the United States, ending the scourge of illegal alien gang violence once and for all. Now, why is this important? Why is this important? Why are they using this kind of language? Before you say, excuse me, I don't want violent drug dealers to operate inside of our national boundaries. They are engaging in a direct violation of the law. The local law enforcement authorities that do collaborate when it comes to, murders and drug dealing and federal offenses already do prosecute these people. And then the federal government does deport them after the criminal trial is over. Saying you're going to do this to suspected drug dealers opens up the boundaries of what the existing law is. Just so you understand, they're using MS-13 or Trenderagua, which is the new MS-13, the Venezuelan version, to say they are going to go after every single migrant. They are not going to go after criminals because the government, the local authorities, and the federal government already does go after criminals. Crimea River, you say? Oh my God. For a lot of people that have completely checked out, I think, of hoping that anything good will happen, they are just running on fucking fumes, okay? They're angry. They don't know what the fuck they're angry about. And they are specifically saying, no, it's good. Let's just punish those who are even less fortunate than we are. And then maybe I will feel better. You will not feel better, okay? You will not feel better when this happens. You will actually suffer even more when this happens. Especially when, if you are the most selfish person and don't give a fuck about the fact that this would mean that 1 in 15 families that are mixed status households would actually have an immediate family member forcibly ripped and removed from their immediate family members for no crime other than existing on U.S. soil and participating in the American economy. If you don't care about the inhumanity of that situation, you will care when your economy is imploding. Okay? It is ironic that so many people said they are voting for Donald Trump because of food prices, not realizing that undocumented migrants are responsible for damn near the entirety of America's agricultural production. This is precisely the reason why when Donald Trump uses the Bracero program or Operation, WB, won't say it, okay, that's what it was called, when he hailed that as a fantastic, thing to do that he was going to bring back in a big way, right, under the Eisenhower administration, the American government engaged in mass deportations of 1.2 million, I believe, if not even more than that, mass deportation of 1.2 million people of Mexican background, including but not limited to American citizens of Mexican descent, for the record. Okay? And in that process, Texas and many other places that relied on Mexican labor, farmhands, and the like were actually openly defending through violent means against the federal government their fellow laborers. Things will change very quickly when you start recognizing that this is going to genuinely destroy American agricultural production. Did Hasan just say a slur? What? No, I didn't. I purposely didn't say the name of the operation. Bros are horny for clips. Yeah. So excited. He's like, ooh, maybe I can get him canceled now. Estimated 350,000 to 1 million deported, up to 60% of Americans. I'm sure the real number is way higher than 1 million. Those agricultural production facilities took the risk of hiring illegal immigrants, knowing that they may get deported for violating the law due to illegally immigrating here. The production may get slashed, but that is the result of cheap corporate greed. Yeah, the problem is there is no way to fill this role. You understand that, right? The real solution is not to forcibly remove millions of people that are participating in the economy in very meaningful ways, in much more meaningful ways than you, I'm loco. Okay, the solution is to document these people and allow them to participate in even more meaningful ways in the American economy and allow them to actually demand fairer wages, for example. If the price of eggs are going to go up, if the price of avocado is going to go up, regardless, I would rather have it go up in a more ethical way, in a more sustainable way in the interim period than one that will completely destroy the American economy. Okay? If you voted for Donald Trump personally because you thought he was going to lower the egg prices, for example, you are in for a very hard, very shitty surprise when you realize that the price of eggs are going to shoot up to $20 fucking dollars when there's no one to, work in the poultry facilities. The only difference is absolutely zero people are so racist that they will forego their treats. Okay? That's it. Everything that Donald Trump has ironically advocated for is actually inflationary, even though he was seen as the solution to the inflation crisis that Americans were experiencing. Wage growth did not outpace the cost of goods, the cost of goods going up. Tariffs, on the other hand, is inflationary, and so is mass deportation of 20 million migrants. Poultry and produce farms will become the new work camps to extract free labor of undocumenteds? Yes. Source for what? Anyway, those were the old days when they had tough politicians build a crowd of supporters. Think of that. 1798. Oh, it's a powerful act. You couldn't pass something like that today. Let's continue.
Fox News anchor Pete Hegseth. His attorney confirms to NBC News Hegseth paid a settlement to a woman last year after she previously accused him of sexual assault in 2017. But the attorney says Hegseth maintains his innocence and that the encounter was consensual.
Do you think that this matter could sink Pete Hegseth's confirmation?
It could. We'll figure out if he can get confirmed or not. And I do think that Pete's a good pick for this position.
Mr. Trump has told advisors he plans to stand by Hegseth after a recent conversation with his nominee, according to the New York Times, citing two people briefed on the discussion. Also facing new
Like, the way I see this working, by the way, and there's a reason why, like, the price or the stock prices of private prisons shot up after the Trump victory, is the way I foresee this happening is private prison facilities are going to come back in a fucking massive way. Okay. They are going to build new private prison facilities, work camps, basically, and all of the migrants that they put into these work camps are going to have to work for free at gunpoint to engage in this agricultural production that they were already doing for pennies on the dollar, but this time they'll have to do it for free. This is my speculation, okay? My suspicion is we already have slavery in this country. It is constitutionally protected as a form of punishment, and we will utilize it. Slavery is illegal? No, it's not. Slavery is very much legal, please. The 13th Amendment that is supposed to abolish slavery actually still maintains slavery as a legal form of punishment. Okay? It is still abso-fucking-lutely legal. It's legal in virtually every state. Okay? California, as a matter of fact, just reconfirmed its legal status in a ballot measure. California voted to keep slavery as a legal form of punishment 2 fucking weeks ago.
Backlash, the president-elect's choice of now former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz to lead the Department of Justice, with multiple sources telling NBC News he faces a very difficult...
For the record, before people say, what are you saying about agricultural workforce? Okay. What do you mean about agricultural workforce? Immigrants in American farms. In 2019, more than half of all hired farm workers in the United States were immigrants, or roughly 450,000 workers. In many states known for their fresh produce, immigrant farm laborers make up large shares of miscellaneous agricultural workers. In the state of California, 79.3% of agricultural workers are foreign-born. They're either on a specific migrant worker visa, or they are undocumented workers. Okay. In Washington, it's 77%. In Oregon, it's 73%. In Florida, it's 70.9%. In Arizona, it's 69.8%. In North Carolina, it's 64.3%. Okay. The share of miscellaneous agricultural workers in crop production that are undocumented as of 2019 is 30.9%. If you forcibly removed even 31% of the entire labor force in the agricultural sector, what do you think that would do to prices? What do you think that would do to supply? What do you think that would do to the supply of readily available agricultural goods? Yes, I know. Cal matters. California rejected the ballot measure to California rejected the ballot measure to this is horrible. Remove slavery exception. 53% of Californians voted to maintain slavery as a form of punishment. Now, for the reason, for people who are saying, why the fuck did that happen? It is because, number one, there was a big ass fucking campaign, okay, against removing it. And number two, it didn't have slavery in the way that they wrote it. They wrote it as, I think they wrote it as like servitude as a form of punishment. That was the reason why a lot of people were confused. It was written as indentured servitude. Or involuntary servitude, not indentured servitude, sorry. In other states where they openly write it as slavery, these ballot measures actually pass. They abolish slavery. But when you write it as involuntary servitude, people don't fully understand what that means, especially when there are active. Yeah. Tennessee wrote it specifically as slavery, and it was banned by 80% of the vote. Tennessee voters officially banned all forms of slavery in the state. Tennessee has officially banned all forms of slavery. Voters on Tuesday approved a ballot measure, this was back in 2022, that removes language of allowing slavery and involuntary servitude as forms of punishment for those convicted of crimes. The measure got 80% of the vote. Okay. Anyway, words matter. Okay. The way people apply language in this situation and weaponize it matter.
Difficult path to confirmation. Gaetz resigned his seat last week, ending a House Ethics Committee investigation into whether he engaged in sexual misconduct and illicit drug use. Allegations.
If you keep scrolling, it shows the number of Americans that kept doing agricultural jobs, 0.01%. What do you mean?
He denies. While some in both parties want the committee to release its report, House Speaker Mike Johnson disagrees, saying Gaetz is now a private citizen.
I think that would be a Pandora's box.